Welcome, everybody, to the X Factor podcast, episode number 10, where I am riding shotgun with the great Jon S. Rennie. You can find him at jonsrennie.com. He is, as I am, as our fearless show producer referred to us earlier. What was the exact term you used to refer to us, Parker?
Published authors.
No, I think you said global icons.
Global
icons.
icons.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So these two global icons are coming at you on the podcast. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the first nine episodes.
Yes, nine
First
episodes.
nine.
Yes, 9 episodes. You go to thexfactorpodcast.com. That will take you to our podcast page where you can record a voice message. The most outstanding voice messages. See,
Or
unlike
comment.
school or comment, unlike school, we like to reward bad behavior here.
Yes.
So, John, Parker, you guys explain to everybody what we're doing rewarding bad behavior. And then I'll jump into like what we're talking about today.
So here's the deal, right? So, the X Factor podcast is all about standing out. It's all about, being different from the crowd. And what we want to hear from you, our listeners, is how can you be different? So we want to hear from you. Leave us a voice message. Again, thexfactorpodcast.com. And there's a little button there that says leave a voicemail or leave a message. And you can leave us a voice message. And the most outrageous, most crazy, the most impressive message will receive a gift, because we want to reward those people who are thinking differently, because that's what this podcast is all about.
Yeah, you might receive, I don't know, a copy of one of John's books. This is the part where you wave the book up in the air, John.
Yeah, or
a copy of one of my books.
Of one of Coach Brubaker's books, Coach Brew's books, Seeds of Success, my personal favorite.
And if you leave an outrageous voicemail that's just absolutely roasting us.
Yes.
That's like if you're one of our bros and you're roasting us, broasting. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a, what is that called? A portmanteau. Anyway, you roast us. Best roast might get a bag of the absolute best roast in the world, which is
Bottom Gun Coffee. And this is a medium roast, but we also have dark roast. So give us a good broast and get yourself a roast.
Exactly. He's a poet and he doesn't even know it. Yeah.
And
So we have down here the handsome gentleman who is decked out to the nines in a clean t-shirt today with a gorgeous hat, I might add. The DFE. I don't know why his name on Zoom does not say the DFE.
I'll change that.
John, as an intern, you would think he'd be more mindful and better behaved. That after I corrected him last time, it would say the DFE.
We see DFE now, but
there you go.
I'll give him credit though. On episode 10, he is wearing the chin out, chin up, chest out. Is it chin out, chest up? No, it's chin out.
Chin up, chest out.
Wow.
Wow.
My man is wearing...
I'm wearing the gear.
The brand as well, and he can't even remember the order of 4 words. How did you survive basic training in the Navy? Never mind live in a steel tube hundreds of feet underwater during the Cold War if you can't remember 4 words.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Chin up, chest out.
I just want to...
I tell you what this tells me is John needs more Bottom Gun coffee. He's not fully activated yet.
Exactly.
No, I need more coffee. I always need more coffee. If it wasn't for my friends at Bottom Gun Coffee Company, I don't know what I would do. So they keep me caffeinated, and I love their coffee, love their product, and it's
delicious.
It's all done by submariners. So people that know good coffee.
And you can find out more, and you can order your own coffee, because I know you're jealous right now that we're drinking Bottom Gun coffee, go to bottomguncoffee.com.
Yeah, get yourself some. It's good stuff, and it's a great bunch of guys that are running that company. So, yep.
And the link will be in the comments, as are all the links for all the information you would ever possibly need.
Be in the description down below.
Description, not the comments, the description. It goes like video screen, description, comments. I get that order a little confused sometimes because I can't keep 3 thoughts together in my head. And apparently John can't keep 4 words together in the correct order either, which is why we get along so well. We're boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are we talking about today? We are talking about famous historical figures that have the X factor.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, history is great because you get to look back and you can see all these people, and you sort of, I don't know, when you asked me, when you said in the pre-workup for the show, you were like, who in history has the X factor? That's kind of a crazy question, and I had to think about it. But John, who are you going to talk about today?
I'm going to talk about the first president of the United States. Because if there were ever someone who embodied the X Factor ethos, it would be the first president of the United States.
Absolutely.
Mr. Benjamin Franklin invented electricity and died of syphilis. If that ain't some X Factor stuff right there, I don't know what is.
This ought to be good. I'm looking forward to this. There's some historians that are going to be confused, but that's all right.
I'm just kidding. I mean, Benjamin Franklin was the first president, but that's not who I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know he was president.
Because I am both a scholar and a gentleman. Well, we're rewriting history and like banning history books in school. So he may as well, I've decided Benjamin Franklin can identify as the first president of the United States.
All right. We'll take it.
But because I am both a scholar and a gentleman, I'm going to let you go first, John.
All right.
You can share with us your X Factor historical figure.
So I chose somebody in history that I've always admired, just because he seems like such the amount of skills this person had was kind of exceptional.
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
Richard Simmons.
Oh, you are so close. And I do like Richard Simmons. I like a good Richard Simmons workout video, like the rest of us. But no, actually, I chose someone that I look up to is kind of a Renaissance man. He literally was the Renaissance man.
Sweet. That is so sweet.
What?
You chose me, your co-host.
No.
You look up to me and I'm a Renaissance man. I'm confused.
I wouldn't argue with that, but no, I didn't choose you because you're not a historical figure. You live in the present, so not in the past.
Because we move forward.
That's right.
We're always about moving forward. Chin up,
Hashtag
chest
kangaroo
out.
mindset.
Forward.
Episode 9.
I chose Leonardo.
That's awesome. He's my favorite actor.
Not that Leonardo.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Titanic.
Leonardo da Vinci. Or it's Da Vinci.
The actor.
No, he's not an actor.
Oh, he's
an
the artist that cut off his ear. See the artist? Isn't he the artist that had like a jilted lover and he cut off his ear and sent it to her?
No, that's Picasso, I believe.
No, it wasn't Picasso. It was Van Gogh.
Oh, it was Van Gogh. I don't know. I'm an uncultured swine. What do I know? But I do know Leonardo da Vinci. And the reason I know him is because I actually have been
great in The Wolf of Wall Street.
No, that's a different Leonardo. I got to keep reminding you of that. I have been to Italy. I've been to Milan, and I have been to the church where the famous painting, The Last Supper, is actually in. And I've seen The Last Supper, the original artwork of Leonardo da Vinci. I've seen it.
Have you been to Venice?
I have been to Venice, yes.
Do you know how to make a Venetian blind?
No, but we're about to find out. Jeez.
Poke them in the eyes.
Yeah,
just a reminder to our
right
listeners, please go to thexfactorpodcast.com and leave us a voice message about why this is the most craziest podcast you've ever listened to.
And if you're not watching it on YouTube, you're missing out.
You're missing out. You're totally missing out.
I mean, John's handsome, rugged, good looks, and I meant Brubaker, and Rennie's intellect. Yeah,
it's great. And my memory, it's amazing.
So you chose Leonardo
da Vinci.
Yep.
So interesting. I think one of the reasons I like him so much and is that he was the original Renaissance man. He was an artist and he was known for his art, but he actually was an inventor. This is interesting. He was described as having an unquenchable curiosity. He always wanted to learn more about things and dig into things and learn and write and understand things. But what's interesting is
he's like Curious George before Curious George.
Exactly. He had that curiosity. And, he was born out of wedlock at a time when that was not a good thing to start your future, right? And basically grew up poor, which has been kind of the story of a few other characters we've talked about on this podcast. No formal education, but by the age of 14, he became what was known as a garzon, a studio boy. I don't know.
Sounds like cheese. Boy.
That sounds like that sounds like a job description at Michael Jackson's ranch.
I think so. For sounds the like Italian painter Andrea del Verrocchi, or something like that. But anyways, he was the leading Florentine painter at the time and sculptor, and he got a job as an intern. He was a DFE. He was the DFE of this famous painter, and that's where he learned how to paint. And what's interesting is he was the studio boy, which is the person that cleaned the brushes and mixed the paint and probably had other duties as well.
Parker, this is horrible. One of your nicknames is now studio boy.
And not only that, he has a title of a garzon or garzon.
Garzon, yeah.
Garzon.
It sounds like
Cajun.
I feel like that's a cheese name. That's like something you put on.
You're thinking of Gorgonzola.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
You're thinking of Gorgonzola cheese, not Garzon.
Oh, never mind.
I don't know.
Just sounds like cheese.
Oh, listen, studio boy.
So, can you name the number one most famous painting of Leonardo da Vinci?
The dogs playing poker.
On what is it, on the black velvet?
The black velvet with the purple light. That's got to be what it is, right?
That is not.
Didn't he paint that? Didn't he paint that on the roof of the Sistine Chapel? So all the airplanes when they flew over, they'd see it.
Not the ceiling, but the roof.
Yeah,
I like that. No, Mona Lisa. You know the Mona Lisa.
I was right. I guess that.
Yes, Mona Lisa. Yeah, Mona Lisa is his most famous painting. And
studio
of course,
boys know these things.
And of course, that painting is famous because nobody can figure out is she smiling? Is she serious? I mean, it's got this kind of look that everybody for years, centuries, I guess now, have wondered about that smile that's painted on the Mona Lisa. But one of his paintings in 2017, was called Salvator Mundi, sold at auction for $450 million. So that's the kind of artist he was. But the thing I like about
after he's dead, right?
Yeah, it's after he's dead, of course. But one thing I like about him is he wasn't just an artist. He used the other side of his brain too. He was an inventor, and he kept these notebooks where he was always coming up with these crazy ideas like flying machines and armored vehicles. And he thought of the concept of concentrated solar power. I mean, these are things that now are becoming, reality, but this was done, in the 1400s, right? He was thinking about these things, and he came up with a design for a double hull ship, right? Which is long before, all these tankers, rip their hulls open and put oil into the environment, right?
Shout out to the fine folks at Exxon, the Valdez.
And the Valdez, absolutely. I couldn't remember the name, but he even designed a machine to test the tensile strength of wire. I mean, this is the way this guy was thinking. And so I guess
that's how we came. So he invented like the gauge of a wire.
Yeah.
Well, different sizes, right?
But he designed a way to test him. But the point of the matter is that, he saw beauty in life, and he was a great artist, and he was, one of the greatest artists that ever painted, but yet he challenged himself to this unquenchable curiosity. And I think that people and of course, here we are talking about him how many years later, right? He's stayed in the history book. He stayed relevant. He was an important character in our history. And I think he's got the X factor because he had that unquenchable curiosity. And I think if you're going to be someone that is going to be successful, you're going to beat the competition, you're going to stand out, you can't quit. You have to have an unquenchable curiosity as a business leader. Go ahead.
You get a 30-second timeout.
Yeah.
So I wanted to jump in on that. You talk about like how he had utilized the right brain creative side for painting and his art, left brain to invent things.
Yeah.
I think that is the common denominator of X factor individuals, brands, animals, whatever it might be, is they are non-linear thinkers. They get their best ideas from outside their industry, and they're able to connect all these different dots from one walk of life to something seemingly incredibly dissimilar. Like Herb Kelleher invented Southwest Airlines, or founded Southwest Airlines, got the idea for quicker turnarounds at the gate from going to a NASCAR race, which he hated NASCAR, had no interest in it, with his buddies. And he was watching the pit crews change the tires, the oil, fuel, clean the windows of the vehicle and get it right back out there in a matter of seconds. Totally non-linear thinker, basically, recreated the airline industry and the customer experience.
Absolutely.
Like that is a non-linear thinker. Da Vinci, not one of the original non-linear thinkers.
If not the original.
Yeah. So the original Renaissance man, the one that thought from both sides of their brain. I think as leaders, as leaders and as entrepreneurs, and if you're running a business, you've got to have both sides of your brain. You have to have that creative side, because you're, creating what your brand looks like. What does it stand for? What's the artistic presence of your brand? But then it's the other side of it is execution, right? Do you deliver what you promise, what you're going to say?
So do you think that's a nature versus nurture thing? Like if you don't have it, like you're never going to develop it. And maybe you ought to hire or, recruit a business partner who complements you. Like you're super creative.
Yeah.
One of your business partners, or maybe your vice president or whoever, ought to be someone analytical, someone logical, someone left brain, so that you can integrate all that. Do you think it's nature versus nurture?
Yeah, I think it is. But I also think it's about building the right team. I always think about the Navy SEALs, right? They put together a team of people that they all are skilled in combat, but they all also have expertise in certain different areas, and they're needed throughout the mission, right? So you need your language expert here. You need your medical expert here. You need your explosive expert here. You need your sniper over here, right? So I think when you're building a team, especially a small company, you want to make sure you have complementary skill sets so that you can build this, SEAL team. And that's the way I look at it, to be able to be effective and to be able to outmaneuver land armies. I mean, essentially, in my small company, we are outmaneuvering land armies by having a small SEAL team.
That's a challenging thing, John. And for everyone listening, this is a cautionary tale. We tend to like people who are just like us.
Mm-hmm.
That bias for similarity. And when we like people who like us, we tend to hire in our own likeness. So we're going to hire people a lot like us. And when someone thinks just like you, acts just like you, behaves just like you, has the same type of ideas, thought process, one of you isn't necessary.
Right.
Like you want someone that's going to push back, or is a little different, or is a completely different personality type.
Yep.
Because it complements the team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, I like Leonardo da Vinci. He's one of my favorite characters in life. And if you want to spend some time looking about him and looking about the things that he did, it's pretty remarkable. But I just think it's that left brain, right brain. It's that unquenchable curiosity that makes him someone that was really stood out from the crowd. So, Coach Brew, who are you talking about today?
Our first president, Benjamin Franklin. Yep. He used to go over to France, not for international relations and to get the French to help with the American Revolution and the war, but also because he had some girlfriends over there, and he used to go over there on business trips. Died of syphilis. Coincidence? I think not. No, in all seriousness, He's a great president, but that's not who I wanted to talk about today. And I don't want to
Okay.
talk about the American Revolution, talk about the Civil War.
Okay.
And, that war that they are still fighting where you live, John.
The War of Northern Aggression, as we
Yeah.
call it
Yeah.
down here.
And you guys still reenact it. You go get hammered drunk and you reenact it. So you win.
Right.
So the person I want to focus on, who's a historical figure from the Civil War, and very well, his leadership and his heroic action might have been the very reason why the North, the Union, won the Battle of Gettysburg, which was the key turning point in the whole war. And that is Civil War legend Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain. What's interesting about Chamberlain, a number of things, but he's from Maine and grew up in Brewer, Maine, which is fairly far north, up near Bangor, not pronounced Bangor, pronounced Bangor, Maine, near the University of Maine. But so Chamberlain was a school teacher. And here's part of the reason why I feel like I was born in the wrong generation. You didn't have career politicians back then. You didn't have a big military industrial complex back then. You had people who served, whether it was in politics or the army, for the right reasons, for noble reasons, because it was service over self. They weren't doing it to advance their career and get bought off by lobbyists or anything like that. Chamberlain was very concerned about the direction our country was headed and what was happening during that period of time, and voluntarily joined the army.
He was a true citizen soldier.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting because that's kind of the story of many, many great heroes, is from, humble beginnings to national prominence, and people who are just everyday average human beings, ordinary human beings who are thrust into certain circumstances, and they perform extraordinary actions. And I think we've lost sight of that today. Politicians have become nothing more than ugly celebrities. There's corruption everywhere. People are doing things for the wrong reasons. And, here's a guy who I just love that how heavily things weighed on him. He decided to do something about it. And maybe the last time we saw that, on a scale where there's any like name recognition or fame, was you saw a lot of people enlist after 9/11.
Right.
And you
right.
saw Pat Tillman leave a
Yep.
career in professional football and serve his country and ultimately lose his life serving his country. But you just don't see that very often, or you certainly don't see it publicized. And, whether it was the Battle of Antietam, there's another battle on the federal line at Little Round Top, which is the Antietam battlefield, which is kind of the precursor to the Battle of Gettysburg. You got to see his leadership in action, and it wasn't necessarily that he was a great military leader who, inspired and led from the front and was this amazing tactician. It's that he was persistent, he was organized, and he knew like when to advance, when to retreat. He was probably just a smart tactician. He knew like what battles he could fight and win and what he couldn't. And really then ultimately at Gettysburg, when to draw a line in the sand. And it's with that I think he is the X factor leader that I wanted to focus on from history, because think about how different our country, our world would be if the North lost the Battle of Gettysburg.
Yeah, so it's service over self is a great example of who he was. I mean, he was
Every X factor leader. Yep.
Yeah, and it's he was awarded the Medal of Honor, which is the highest military award that can be given out, and that was for his gallantry at the Battle of Gettysburg specifically. But
Medal of
here's,
Honor is nice. We also had a beer named after him up here too.
yeah, tell us about that.
Shipyard Brewing Company. Shout out to Fred Forsley, founder and CEO of Shipyard. Amazing beer.
Wait, no free shout outs. Wait.
Good point. Sorry. Fine me. Penalize me. But it's Chamberlain Ale. It's fabulous. It's delicious. So, there are a couple things I'd love to have named after me, a beer and a stadium. And yeah, so fun fact.
So
Fun fact.
So not only is he a war hero who changed the tide of the battle and everything, he almost sounds like almost like a Chris Kyle. Do you guys know who Chris Kyle is?
Yeah, the
sniper.
the American sniper. Yeah.
How so, Parker?
Because Chris Kyle was, from what I was reading about him and from what I've researched about him, he was going to college, quit college, went into a recruiting office because he wanted to make a difference.
Yep.
And next thing you know, he's one of the most like bad guys on the planet, who's completely changed the way people look at the military, the way people even think about all that stuff. And he was an absolutely amazing guy. So
It's I think this could be another whole episode when you talk about marketing and the military and like people as a brand to kind of rally a cause around. I think the military probably could do a better job recruiting, showcasing stories like that, like Chamberlain, focusing on history instructs, and he's also X factor in terms of being different. What really at Little Round Top during the second day of the Battle of Gettysburg, his 20th Maine Regiment was outflanked, and they were in a defensive position. The left flank of the Union line was on this hill called Little Round Top, adjacent to Big Round Top, and it was Confederate General Hood kept attacking that position. But Chamberlain had his men stand their ground. They're running out of ammunition, and they didn't think they'd be able to withstand another Confederate attack. So he came up with a very counterintuitive solution, and that was that the 20th Regiment of Maine actually left their defensive position and attacked the Confederates. So you're running out of ammo, but you go on the attack. And what it did was it's like the Confederates knew they're running out of ammo. They're wearing them down. But what it did was it completely caught them off guard. And many of whom, they were so caught off guard, they were captured. And that enabled the Union Army to secure that flank and go on and win the entire Battle of Gettysburg the very next day. So that was kind of like that linchpin moment. And it was done by being different and doing something completely counterintuitive.
And it's interesting because I think I see it in a lot of entrepreneurs and leaders is that fear freezes them, right? So they fear failure. They fear, oh, I don't want to look bad, or I don't want to, or they're comfortable in their current situation. They don't want to take that leap. And if Chamberlain, from what I can tell, if Chamberlain hadn't taken that leap and gone on the offensive, that probably the battle would have ended up different that day. So part of it is overcoming our fear and overcoming our comfort and doing things that sometimes are, definitely out of the box and out of our comfort zone. But you have to do that if you've got to push through your fear. And he was a man of high courage, from what I can tell.
Yeah. And I think that, why this resonates so deeply with me and speaks to me on a whole other level is you talk about entrepreneurship, and the intersection of all this is offense always trumps defense.
Yes.
And when you're on offense, you're proactive in anything. And when in business, life, sports, war, and when you're on defense, you're reactive. You're always going to be a step behind. So if you look at it like in sports, and why does the offense in football have an advantage? A receiver against the defensive back. The receiver knows what route he's running. The defensive back does not. Right. So you're always, when you're on offense, you're always going to be a step ahead, literally and figuratively. And that is a distinct advantage. So Chamberlain knew when to shift gears and go on the offensive. And I think that's a good rule for life. You're better off being on offense than defense. You're on the balls of your feet. You're not on your heels,
I
so
like
to
it.
speak.
Yeah. Well, prevent defense. We know that works so well in the NFL.
Yeah. Prevents you from winning.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Awesome.
Service over self,
Yep.
Courage, ingenuity going on the offense. Definitely someone with the X factor.
It's kind of the snowy owl of the Union Army.
A snowy owl. I like that. That seems
Where did
like
I get that? Where did that come from here? Episode 10, where did that snowy owl reference come from, Parker?
Snowy owl, I believe was episode 9, correct?
Yeah,
Parker?
episode 9, which will most
Studio boy to the rescue, by the way.
Studio boy.
Which will be most likely linked at the end of this video, so you can just click the little link. It'll take you right to the past episode, and you can watch that. And then all of the links for both of them will be in the description down below.
Did you say subscription?
Description.
No, but what? How about subscriptions too? Because that's
yeah,
also
yeah.
important.
I mean,
I want you talking about both those things.
Yeah. So absolutely, to be a P1 listener, we want you to comment. Like we were saying at the beginning of this episode, make sure that you go on to our website, thexfactorpodcast.com. That will send you directly to our Anchor podcast, where you can send us in a voice message. We want the craziest voice messages, and you will be put in a giveaway to receive the Bottom Gun coffee and the books as well. And if you are unable to put a voice message into the Anchor podcast or on our website, then
Parker,
comment down below, and we'll choose one of those as well.
Fun fact, John. See that book John's holding up?
This one. Which one?
The one in your right hand.
This one.
Yes. So did you know that
Yes.
in John's nightstand, there are 2 books?
Yes.
The King James Bible,
Yes.
Seeds of Success by John Brubaker.
Yes.
Did you know that, Parker?
I almost hate to say it because
tens of thousands of listeners. Did you know that?
I hate to say this, but this is actually one of my favorite books on leadership that's ever been written.
You
Coach
hate to say it? Why do you hate to say it? You should.
Because you're going to use it against me somehow, somewhere in the future.
I was just on a podcast, and the shout out to Jason Novetsky. He was telling me that Seeds of Success is the one book that on the first of the new year, he rereads every year.
I think that's a good idea.
That could be you too. Seedsofsuccessbook.com, kids.
Seedsofsuccessbook.com. Great book. One of my favorites. And we've talked about it. I've had you on my podcast. We talked about it. And it's a great book. It's, if you want to learn a little bit about the impact that a leader makes, I was actually working on my latest book, working on that the other day.
And where can people find out more about that, John?
Oh, jonsrennie.com. Everything about my books is on there. But my next book, called All in the Same Boat, which will be coming out this year, I was doing a little research about leaders making ripples. And I realized that was actually a quote by the Dalai Lama back in 2013. And he said that great leaders make ripples out into the water, and those ripples spread and have an effect, a long-term effect. And I think that the Seeds of Success book is a great example of a coach who his ripples just spread, and his impact spread on so many different people, all his players, other coaches, and he had an impact on so many lives. And one of the things I recognize about my life as a submariner on the USS Tennessee is those ripples. I felt like they reflected back to me and actually made me a better leader. Just so the impact I made on others actually came back to me tenfold. And I think that says something. So we got off track a little bit, but Seeds of Success is a really good book to learn a little bit about the impact that leaders make on other people.
That's a beautiful, beautiful testimony. Thank you, John. I am so glad that you look up to me, admire me as you do, and the feeling's mutual. This is a real love fest right now.
It really is. I mean,
Yeah.
because you're not wearing a mankini right now, so
No,
I think
thank God.
I can
Yeah.
look up to
Which,
you. I want to look up to you.
What episode was that?
That is either, or actually, it's both episode 6 or no, that's episode 7 and 8.
Yep.
That you can go back and watch that, which will most likely be at the end of this video. That if you want to click that link and go back,
Potentially burn your eyelids.
but also
The mankini episode.
to have a chance to receive this amazing book, make sure to comment, share, like, and subscribe, and make sure you put in a comment that is insane, just out of this world. Whether you're roasting us, or better yet, go to Anchor and send us a voice message that is just absolutely absurd, amazing / terrible. We don't care. Something awesome.
Bro,
I like the fact that he uses the politically correct gender neutral term is a voice message, not a voice mail.
Oh,
gosh.
Yeah. That's very enlightened, very Gen Z of you, Parker. Thank you.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Shout out to our non-binary listeners. I like that. I don't know if we have any, but
Well, I know you do from your podcast. Maybe they migrated over here too.
they could.
Yes. Shout out to everyone who's listening. And your goal should be to become a P1 listener.
Yes.
Make us priority number one, preset number one, so to speak, in your podcast. And we're getting P1 t-shirts made up too, by the way. So all the more reason for you to be one. P1.
On day one.
On day one. Day one, P1, B1. On that note, we're all out of rhymes. So we're going to stop dropping dimes.
And we're out of
going
time.
to wrap this thing up because we're out of time dropping dimes and rhymes. Subscribe, comment, leave a voice message, and we will catch you in the next episode of the X Factor podcast, which is brought to you by our friends at Bottom Gun Coffee. We give you a 3-mug salute.
3-mug salute.
3-mug salute to everyone.
Coffee Company.
And head over to bottomguncoffee.com. Catch you in the next episode. And that's a wrap. Behave yourself, kids.
Be good.
Bye.